For a long time, I was scared to walk anywhere alone. I wouldn't even feel safe if I brought pepper spray with me. I always had my phone in my pocket and I would dial in 911 and have my finger just a button away from the call button if I was walking alone, just in case I needed to call 911. Or I would have my mom's number or somebody else that I trusted just to dial away. This was because, well, one of the reasons was because I was almost kidnapped as a kid. And you can say that was traumatizing at the very least. I actually don't really remember too much from my childhood, but this one memory, it really stuck with me, probably because it was so traumatizing that I'm not even really sure where to begin exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with just describing the setting for you guys, give you guys a bit of background. So I was probably about 7, 8, or 9 when this happened. I'm guessing because I haven't moved into the new house that we were living in yet. So, but I wasn't like 5 or 6. I was bigger than that. And I moved to my new house when I was 10. So just doing some math, I was probably like 7, 8, 9. And this happened at a superstore. So if you guys aren't familiar with superstore, it's a big like chain supermarket here in Canada. And it's not like one of those tiny supermarkets where you just buy like fruits and veggies, a bit of produce. No, it's one of these big chain supermarkets. Think like a Walmart. You can buy clothes there. They even have like little stores within there where you can buy glasses. There's a pharmacy in there. So it's pretty large, and it also has a very large parking lot as well. So think, yeah, Walmart, Costco, that sort of size. And I had went with my mom. We went pretty late at night. I remember it was like really dark back then. It was also quite cold. That's irrelevant. But yeah, we drive into the parking lot of the superstore, and I don't even know why, but I remember my mom parked somewhere in the middle of the parking lot. There were spots near the front that she could have parked, but for some reason she parked near the middle, maybe because it was near like the pushing carts. But yeah, that's what happened. And there was a bunch of empty parking lot spaces that were available. This is a really important part of the story to mention. So we go into the superstore, we do the groceries, and just something to note, as a kid, I was always very hyper vigilant. I was very aware of my surroundings, especially. I was always kind of like scanning everywhere, looking ahead, and just kind of detecting like any danger or threats. I was like a very scared child. I was like a scaredy cat. But anyways, so we do our regular groceries. I'm with my mom. Everything's calm, cool. I'm having a great time with her. And then I notice that there's this man, maybe 5, 10 minutes within our shopping trip. I noticed this man, and he's just staring at me the entire time, and he's following us across the superstore. And my mom, we were doing a big grocery haul, so we go to basically all throughout the entire store. We go through almost like all of the aisles this trip. And I noticed this man, he's just following us from aisle to aisle. And some of the aisles, he wouldn't be in the exact same aisle as us, but he would go to the aisle right next to us. So he'd always be close by. And the whole time he would be looking at us. And I told my mom, I was just mentioning like, hey, mom, like this guy, he's like, I think he's following us. He's been looking at us this whole time. And my mom, she's just so busy. She works really hard. She's a working mom. It's close to the end of the day. She's had a really long days, and she's just trying to, get through the day, grab the rest of the groceries, go home. She's not really focused on the surroundings, and she tells me like, hey, don't worry. Like, just because he's a guy, it doesn't mean anything. Like, just relax. It's all fine. Like, I'm here. And, I'm listening to what my mom says, but I'm still very aware that no, mom, like this guy, I'm noticing that he's not picking up anything in these aisles, but he is going through all these aisles with us. Like, that to me was very strange. And so this continued throughout our entire trip. We were probably there for 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe. And I remember we walked to the Barbie aisle because I wanted to check out the dolls there. And guess who follows us? the man follows us there, and I thought that was really strange, seeing that he only has like one thing in his hand, and he basically hasn't bought anything. And what is this grown-ass man doing in the Barbie section, right? Maybe he has a kid, but like in my mind as a kid, already kind of freaked out. That was extremely strange to me. Anyways, we finished grabbing everything we needed for groceries and we head to the checkout section. And as we're checking out, the same man comes to the checkout aisle, but the one right next to us. And I look over to see what he's checking out. He literally only has like 2 items. And keep in mind, he went through the entire supermarket with us for the entire duration and comes out with 2 things. Why would you go aisle to aisle, all these different aisles, just to check out 2 things? If you knew exactly what you wanted, wouldn't you just go to those specific aisles that had the 2 things? It was just super bizarre to me. Meanwhile, me and my mom, we were checking out, I don't know, like a whole week or 2's worth of groceries, which is why I went through the entire supermarket. And so yeah, we're checking out. I noticed that while we're checking out, he's right next to us and he's staring at us still the whole time. And so I'm freaked out. I'm like clinging on to my mom super tightly. We go out to the car and I'm like freaking out because it's really late at night and I'm already like I told you, I was a scaredy cat as a kid. And guess whose car was parked right next to ours in a mostly empty parking lot that he could have parked anywhere closer. This is why I mentioned in the beginning there was so many empty parking lot spots that he could have parked closer to the front. So I really believe that this man was camping out in the Superstore parking lot and that he was waiting for perhaps like a kid to come by or like some opportunity, and that he spotted me and my mom and had decided to right after move his car right next to ours. That is my assumption, but let me know what you guys think. Anyways, so his car was parked right next to my mom's. And okay, and the position that it was parked is really important to note too, because I was still super young, so I wasn't actually legally allowed to sit in the passenger side of like the front seat area, the front driving area. Like I couldn't sit next to my mom essentially. I would have to be sitting in the back because I was like young and I was like light. So when I had gotten out of the car, when I first entered the Superstore, I was like right behind my mom. So imagine my mom was in the driver's seat and I was like right behind her there. And his car was parked right next to us on this side. So it wasn't parked on this side. It was parked on the side that I had gotten out of. And I just had this gut instinct that I just had this gut instinct to instead quickly like run into the other side of my mom's car instead of going the usual side that I would have entered. And so that's what happened. My mom unlocked the car and I bolted into the other side of the car. And when I did that, I saw the look in that guy's face. Like he was like looking at us and I don't know what it was, but it just felt really off to me. I felt super eerie about it. He looked kind of like angry, disappointed. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it was a very like eerie feeling that I got. But I told my mom, like, Mom, let's go like right away. And I like made sure to like lock the car. But oh my God. You guys, I'm probably going to have to do a lot of cuts throughout the story just because it is something that I still like feel is quite traumatizing for me. And I'm like kind of shaking right now. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that is just one of the reasons why for a long time I was scared to walk anywhere alone. Oh my God. So I had to take a little break after telling that story because it really shook me up. So what are the takeaways from this? What did I learn? So 2 main things. One is to trust your gut feeling, because what if I didn't trust my gut feeling? What if I just listened to what my mom said when she had reassured me and not been as attentive to what this man was doing, and I just had went into the like usual side of my mom's car? Like he could have easily swooped me into his car if I had entered in from that side. But because I was very aware of my surroundings and because I had that gut feeling and I trusted it, I had went into the other side of my mom's car. Because I could have been I could have been human trafficked. And if I was, I wouldn't be making these YouTube videos for you guys and, you know, so much more. I wouldn't have experienced so many things that I have experienced now. Everything just could have been completely different if I was kidnapped. Okay, so that was one lesson. Trust your gut feeling. And my second lesson is, at one point, it's super important to let go of these stories. Even though you can tell I'm like visibly shaken up in talking about this, but it's something that I've accepted, and it's something that I don't want to be like seen as a victim. I wasn't actually kidnapped or like a potential victim in that story. No, I don't want to be seen in that light by others or by myself, because, well, one, I am safe, even though, you know, it had traumatized me for a long time. I can accept that happened, but I don't want to hold on to the fear from that story anymore, because it had caused me to miss out on so much. Like, I would be afraid to even go on a 15-minute run around my own neighborhood alone. I would be afraid to do just so many things because of that one incident that happened to me as a kid. What I realized after living in fear for so long, just being anywhere alone, at one point I got really sick and tired of that. I was sick and tired of being afraid of my surroundings, even if it was in my own neighborhood or around my school. I was so sick and tired that the fear of what I was missing out on in my life, that started to become even greater than that fear of that one negative experience that I had as a kid. And I started to rationalize, like, hey, this was one experience that happened out of how many more experiences do I have in every single day where this did not happen to me? And it's not to say that it can't happen again, but am I going to let this one experience block myself from living the full life that I want to? And I decided, like, no, I'm not going to let that control me anymore. And so I started just living for myself. And you guys, if you've watched my channel for some time, hi, my name is Judy. If you're new here, I make videos on self-discovery. A lot of you guys know me from my self-love video, and I'm a big advocate for going on dates with yourself. That is a huge contrast to how I was before, when I couldn't even walk outside without either having pepper spray or my hand on my phone at all times, ready to dial 911 at any moment, to the point to going on dates with myself, going to the movies alone, driving 2 hours to go to like an outdoor spa by myself, to treating myself to like the movies, to doing all these things alone. I could have never imagined I would go from being so afraid to doing all that myself, because when you live in fear, there's so many experiences that you shut yourself away from. You basically close yourself off from experiencing all these different experiences or realities. And once I realized that, everything just changed for me. And that's what I want for you guys to realize too. Maybe you don't actually have to hit that breaking point before you come to realize it, where you're so fed up of being afraid for so long that you decided to make a change for yourself. And I think that's what happens for a lot of people. When we hold on to fear for a long time, one of the big things that cause us to change is, at one point, we just get so like angry that we've been living this way for so long, and it drives us to actually move towards change. If you look at the emotions on an energetic level, so fear actually vibrates at a lower frequency than anger. So I realized that actually being angry is better than being fearful for me. And that was a huge breaking point. And then eventually I got to the point where I just, the whole self-love movement that I had. If you haven't seen my self-love video, please go check it out. It will change your life. It has changed my life and how I treat myself, and in treating myself better, I'm able to have more energy and being able to give back to others as well. Just please check it out if you haven't already. Oh my God, I'm still kind of like shooken up from telling that story. I'm gonna add another point to this actually, because being able to feel safe is such a core need for everybody. And when your perception of safety gets totally messed up as a kid because of incidents that happen like this, like you could have had your own incidents that made you feel like you were unsafe. If you don't actually do the inner work to process that, to feel the emotions that you had felt in the past, and you just repress that, keep that down, it's eventually going to come back up. And whenever events happen as an adult, you'll be more so triggered by these events and you'll feel afraid. So really listen to your inner child whenever you feel afraid. What I mean by that is when you feel fear, check with yourself, creating a little gap. This is an exercise of practicing mastering your emotional intelligence, but basically be an observer of your feelings. Create a gap from what you're feeling. So you feel fear. Ask yourself, okay, why am I feeling this way? Is it because something happened as a kid that made me feel afraid whenever situations like this happen? Because it could be your inner child screaming for a need for safety, and it's trying to tell you something, because your emotions, they're like signposts, is basically trying to tell you when something is wrong or when something is right. So listen to what your emotions are trying to tell you. It could be trying to tell you that your inner child is afraid. And if you identify that, okay, I actually am feeling really scared because this traumatic thing happened to me in the past, and this current situation that's happening makes me feel like I'm reliving that experience again, then reassure yourself like, hey, I know I'm feeling afraid right now because of what so-and-so, like because of what happened in the past, but I'm not there anymore. And, I have learned so many skills, and I'm a completely different person, and I'm evolved, and I'm not going to let you down this time. Just reassure that inner child and keep doing that over and over again. Build that relationship with your inner child so that he or she can fully trust you. It'll take time. It's a continuous journey, but you're going to be able to create a much more compassionate, nurturing relationship, and you'll feel a lot calmer. You'll also find yourself way less, I don't really like the word triggered, way less activated when events happen in your environment that would make you feel afraid typically. I really hope you guys don't mind. I think this is the most jumbled you guys will ever see me in a video. But I'm just gonna now sum up the 3 key takeaways from reflecting on my story. That time I was almost kidnapped. So the first takeaway is to trust your gut instinct or gut feeling. And the second one is to let go of any negative stories that you're holding from the past, or let go of the victim mode, because it's really blocking you from experiencing so much. I know it's really, really difficult. Trust me. I know. I've been there, but you can do it. And the last one is to listen to your inner child and hear what he or she needs. Understand what your feelings are trying to tell you, and reassure your inner child to just create that more compassionate relationship. And you'll also feel less activated or triggered whenever a situation occurs too. It'll be much better for your like mental wellness, health. And with that, I'm gonna end with my usual outro. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for staying till the end. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you could drop a like, a comment. It helps out with the algorithm, I believe. And yeah, I would love to also hear if there's any video topics you'd like me to discuss in the future. But until next time, I love you guys. Peace.